Hey, and welcome back to my channel. In my last video, we did a broad overview of the 10 most common interview questions and the best way to go about answering them. When I was finished though, I felt like there was much more to say. Each question in the job interview is important, and it will take more than just a brief mention in a video to prepare for them. That's why I decided to take some of those interview questions and break them down even further just for you. Let's start with the classic, tell me about yourself. This is one of the most frequently asked interview questions, even if it's not explicitly said, and you will end up answering this question one way or another. In fact, if by chance this one doesn't come in your job interview, the answers are versatile. A good response to this query will be effective at any point in the process. As such, it's good to put a lot of thought into this one and be prepared with a variety of quality answers. This question is deceptively simple, and it's meant to be. Offhand, it seems like a fairly mundane icebreaker question, not one that requires any foresight or planning. Just introduce yourself. Talk about your hobbies and interests and move on, right? Wrong. You have to think again. Take this question seriously because it sets the tone for the entire interview and offers insight into your goals, priorities, and confidence. All elements of the interviews that can make or break your chances of employment. Think of approaching this question like an audition. You need to craft a short elevator pitch of sorts to sell the employer on you as a worker. Interviews are more of a matchmaking process, so you'll need to think beyond simple qualifications. Think about it. If you weren't qualified, they wouldn't have invited you in for an interview in the first place. At the same time, you can't just drone on about unrelated personal stories. This is irrelevant and frankly a waste of time. So, how do you answer this question effectively? So in this video, I'll detail a simple process involving research, identifying and focusing on a specific point, and practicing, as well as some common pitfalls to avoid when responding to this question. But as always, before we get started, please consider liking, subscribing, and clicking that bell. It really means a lot and helps us out with the algorithm. Do your research. Before you start thinking about creating an effective answer, it's important to do research on the role and company you're applying for. This may seem obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many unprepared applicants get to the interview stage before actually looking into the specific responsibilities and requirements of the role, and further, the company they'll be working for. Start with the organization itself. What is the company's mission? What are their short and long-term goals? And how effective have they been at meeting them? Does the company's vision align with yours? What kind of opportunities for advancement and promotion are there? Next, study the job description in depth. What are the most important attributes and traits that they're looking for? While researching, consider these questions in the context of your experience. How can you demonstrate that you're the best person for the job? Start thinking about specific examples from your past work experience and how they tie into what your potential employer is looking for. Craft your answer. So with this in mind, it's time to take your research and craft an answer. How you do this is ultimately up to you. You can keep it all in your head if you like, but I recommend writing it down. Even rough notes that you can bring out and review later will be a huge help in preparing for the interview. Start by writing down the qualities that you have that match those listed on the job description. Then, identify the need or needs of the company. Identify the need. Obviously, they need a new employee, but think about that. They could hire anyone with the right qualifications and train them to do the bare minimum. But the best employees bring tangible value to our organization. What value can you bring beyond what the other candidates already have? By identifying a need or multiple needs of the company, you can then show the interviewer that you're prepared for the interview, know a little bit about the company and its values, and hopefully have the relevant experience to fill that need. Focus on a point. This need will be the point you focus on as you look back in your professional history, for example, of when you went above and beyond satisfying it. Think about a time that you were presented with a problem and developed a solution that exemplifies the traits you're demonstrating. Also consider adding stories of specific key accomplishments, promotions, and career moves. These traits will be what the interviewer will ultimately remember about you once the interview has concluded. The key thing to keep in mind is always tie your examples back into the main point, which should tie into the company's goal or need. The more tangible, the better. If you can quantify these stories in terms of time, money, or people, this will show your potential employer that you are money-minded and have the company's best interests at heart. You should conclude your response by detailing a little bit of your current situation. Why are you looking for a new job? Why did you apply for the role? Why do you like the company? What are your plans for the future? Practice. Once you have some specific examples, it's time to start practicing. Consider making a script. Write down the examples you want to tell and how they demonstrate your skills and tie into the company's goal. Go over it a few times out loud, making sure to hit on specific points that exemplify your best traits. There's no need to memorize here though. You want to maintain a casual conversational tone. Too much memorization can lead to monotonous recital. You don't want to sound and come off like a robot. Mistakes to avoid. This is only one way to go about crafting your answer to this question. Remember, this answer is a free form, so the more you can personalize it, the better. Just remember to make sure your response is relevant to the employer. The open-endedness of this question can throw a lot of people off. There are many common pitfalls to avoid with this question. Here are some to keep in mind. Avoid small talk. The casual, introductory nature of this question can lull one into a false sense of security. Don't waste time with meaningless small talk. There will be time for that later. Try to keep your answer concise, around 2 minutes tops. Don't tell unrelated personal stories. Like I said in the last video, while your latest Fortnite win might be impressive and your new boss probably doesn't care, keep it relevant. Don't tell your life story. Another common mistake many people make is to dive into their personal history. Unless it's relevant to the job, save it for later. Don't badmouth your current position. You may be tempted to detail how unhappy you are at your current employer. This is unprofessional and reflects poorly on you, so avoid it. Don't summarize your resume. Your resume is meant to be a quick overview of your work history. Your interviewer has likely already read it and should be familiar with it. You want to go deeper with specific success stories from your previous roles. Do you have a different strategy for answering this question? Or maybe a story you'd like to share? Please make sure to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear about it. As always, just another friendly reminder to like, subscribe, and click that bell. Really helps us out a lot and helps the algorithm. Also, feel free to add me at Preston_Park as I try my best to post daily. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.